Good day and welcome to a fresh edition of Sportwrap. This is your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraitha, with a sport news update. And now for your latest on the hit list. African Stars coach Mervyn Bakera says Charles Hambira will be surely missed after he picked up an injury. Hambira has been one of the most consistent players this season, helping his team stay on top of the Namibia Premiership. The player, however, picked up a clavicle bone fracture while on international duty. Hambira's consistent performance for the club alongside Emilio Martin and Edmund Kambanda at the back have given Stars the ability to keep the other teams at bay this season. However, the coach will be spared headaches choosing who to slot into the vacant position given the caliber of players at his disposal. Bakera has a star-studded bench equipped with vast experience at his disposal, and he acknowledged the team is capable of filling the gap left by their injured teammate. Players like Romario Njavera, Edmund Kambanda are all capable of playing at this position. The coach will be comforted by the fact that they recently acquired another defender, Vitor Pingaruka, who offers vast experience. The Namibia Rugby Union announced its touring squad of 28 players to contest the Rugby Africa Bathés Under-20 tournament in Nairobi, Kenya next month. Republican reports that the unavailability of loose forward Rian Groove will be a huge loss to the side. Groove has suffered a torn hamstring while playing for French club side Stade d'Orléans, which has required an operation and will rule him out for at least 6 months. Groove, who would have been one of the 4 remaining players from the last year's team who beat Kenya before losing in the final against Zimbabwe. The winner of the Rugby Africa Bathés Trophy Cup will qualify for this year's World Cup Under-20 trophy tournament, which is also due to be hosted by Kenya. Today is a rest day for all 6 of the teams contesting for the ICC World Cup qualifier playoff currently being played in Windhoek. Namibia's Richelieu Eagles unexpectedly find themselves at the bottom of the log, while the USA's big over Namibia by 80 runs on Sunday have propelled them to the first position currently. The United Arab Emirates are also on the board following their win against Papua New Guinea, while Canada has beaten Jersey. Only 2 of the 6 nations will survive to go play the ICC World Cup qualifier in Zimbabwe during June and July. 2 matches will be played on Wednesday as Namibia faces a do-or-die clash against PNG at the United Field, while USA can maintain their winning run from at the Wanderers against their neighboring nation, Canada. All matches start at 9:30 in the morning. The Namibia Rugby Union today announced that it has concluded contract agreements with 19 players so far, to include the union's commitment for the Windhoek Truffle feature in the Mzansi Challenge, as well as the international season leading up to the 2023 World Cup in France. The player contracts are enabled by the NRU's main sponsor, Namibia Breweries Limited, as well as the Namibia government. Alistair Kutsia, the NRU Director of Rugby, says this contribution is a step in the right direction and assists players who previously had to spend out of their own pocket on expenses like accommodation and traveling to attend training and to represent the team. The media conference today was addressed by the NRU's Chief Executive Officer, John Haynes, Daniel Kilde, as well as Global Sponsorships and Events Manager at Breweries, as well as Prince I. Gwalsep, the captain of the Windhoek Truffle Witches. Our reporter Andrew Pullman was at the press conference and compiled this for us.
Okay. Good morning, our media house, supporters, followers, and I think it's appropriate to say rugby lovers, to once again to a wonderful, I would say, call it a get-together opportunity where we can share successful news in a new era within the NRU. And that one of the new steps, or I would say exciting times now, is that we've secured, we've basically secured or signed contracts with local players. We've made sure that we've kept our players, most of our players, at home. and that we are basically now preparing ourselves for the World Cup. And most of our players will be local-based players that will be playing in the Mzansi Cup, which is part of the Currie Cup competition. So there shouldn't be any confusion. The Mzansi Cup is the first division Currie Cup division hosted by South Africa. And we had our first game last weekend. I would say it was a good start. Most of the teams that started playing, that we are playing against, already had 5 weeks. This coming weekend, they will have 6 weeks weekend of matches behind them. So, Dani, on behalf of the NRU, also thank you for joining us this morning. And in the middle, a familiar face, and a face that will become more familiar, is Prince Gausep. Am I right this time, Prince? Yeah. But it's also important to pronounce the name correctly. Prince is also the captain of the Windhoek Bathés, and who will be doing honors. So, Dani, I'm just going to hand over to you.
Thank you, John. I've just got a small message for the players from the Windhoek Bathés side. Obviously, our association with you guys goes back quite a long way. But Windhoek Bathés wishes to congratulate you on being offered a contract. Please see these contracts as a reward for your hard work that you've put in. So it's a thank you and a way to motivate. But please be aware that also with these contracts comes responsibility, not only to yourself to make sure that you look after yourself, be in the best condition that you can be, but also to the Namibian rugby supporters. I think they've been waiting a long time for, we always refer to that first win at the World Cup. But please, look after them, look after the NRU. They've looked after you guys and they've come up with these contracts, which I think is brilliant. And then lastly, also look after us, sponsors and all the other sponsors that you have. It's important, guys, to make sure that these guys get the recognition that they need to get. So, thank you for my side.
Okay. And just a short message. We were able to sign agreements, contract with national players. And these players are mostly from local clubs in Namibia, and they've come back, and also players that come, there's a few players that came back to Namibia, and this gives us a better chance to build, to basically build depth in our player, and I would say our campaign towards the World Cup. And it is quite important that players do feel at home, and how are we going to achieve that? By providing them with a sustainable support in the form of an income. And believe me, if you look at the matches that's going to be played locally in Namibia, that all these players will leave it on the field. If I say leave it on the field, when they walk off that field, you will basically see that they've actually taken on the opponent. And this is the commitment from the NRU with the support of the NBL, the Namibia Brewery, through the Windhoek Draft sponsorship, and also with the support of the government. We can basically make sure that we keep our players I would say we look after our players, and most importantly, that we are just not focused on this year, that we are here to stay in the competition and also to move through the ranks in the various competitions that's going to be available to us. So yes, this is a historical moment. Prince, I believe it's appropriate to hand over to you the pen, where you can sign your name, and then we can have the representative, Mr. Dani Kilder from the brewery, doing us honors. You can, yep. You can. It's an 8. Yeah. There we go. Here it is at the bottom. Mr. Gilder. Thank you. Just for more information, we've successfully signed 19 contracts with our local-based players, and we are moving towards a total of hopefully by the World Cup, we will have signed 33 contracts. And I think that is a huge achievement, and that is to our local players that there is opportunity for you to represent your country in the upcoming World Cup. And our result last week was something to write home about, is that we went down with 5 points, is that whoever's going to come to the Hungry Cup Stadium will need to have their work cut out for us. Am I right, Prince?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Is it possible for you to just walk us through on what is involved in your contracts?
Yeah. So what we've done, there's 5 categories when it comes to the contract, and we have part of good governance and practices. We've gone into an agreement with our players that we want to treat them in confidential perspective. So there's 5 categories. That's information that I'm going to share with you. And those 5 categories allows a player to move up and down based on their performances. So that is information I'm going to share with you today.
What does this mean actually, like with regards to the contract? Because you have players that have their own clubs and you sign this contract that is with them. So are they going to be bound mostly with the national team, or what will happen when their clubs needs them? Is there an agreement with the clubs also to release them to their clubs, or what actually does it entail, and what are the incentives that players will be getting from this?
I think the first incentive was that commitment from the NRU to the player. That was our first commitment. If you look at the current fixture that the Mzansi Cup is that it's going to be week after week after week. So it means that players will basically be committed to the NRU. Players that's not going to be basically part of the team for a specific weekend will be released on during early that week back to their clubs. So there will be a first priority to represent the Windhoek Draft Vavitiers. Players not involved will then be released early the week to their clubs.
And John, for how long is the contract valid? Till when does it run?
So the contracts got different periodic time periods. It runs from, some of the contracts runs from January to June. Some of the contracts runs from February up until August. It all depends on the player's category, because we've also got 3 different contracts that's on the table available for players. You've got the Currie Cup, the Mzansi Challenge contract. Then you also have the Nations Cup that's coming up in July and August. And then there will also be the World Cup contract itself. So altogether, that's a huge opportunity. The whole duration will run from January until September. And that's available to the players.
Maybe just Prince, in terms of this opportunity, you've played internationally, locally, you've been around for a while. What does this opportunity mean to be able to sign at home?
Yeah, obviously, thank you for the question. It's always good to be home, and playing for your home. It's always an honor and a pleasure to do that. But like what John said, we're trying to keep all the players home, trying to bring all the players from overseas, so we can strengthen our domestic league as well. And I think that's the foundation. So if we have a stronger domestic league, the stronger our national team will be. So I think that's the whole aim, and I'm actually looking forward to that. It's a good opportunity to be back home and playing from home again.
The Spotlight is up next after the break.
NMH Ad 1 brings you news from all across Namibia. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact nmh1@synergy.com.na. NMH Ad 1, your lunchtime news companion.
The Central Volleyball League kicked off its first round of matches on Saturday, which as always were well attended at the Gymnasium Hall of the University of Namibia. The Women's League saw Kudos beat DTS 3-0, while Commerce Nampo also beat Afrocat 3-0. Andrew Pullman was there and compiled this for us. A dream has come true for Namibia's Vera Lusa and Mauritius Kim Lacourt as they were crowned winners of the elite women's race in the Absa Cape Epic. Our reporter Ario Ghat was there and compiled this for us.
The 2023 Absa Cape Epic concluded at Val de Vie close to Paarl with Namibian cyclist Vera Lusa with Mauritian Kim Lacourt below winning the elite women's title. A truly remarkable achievement for Vera Lusa and Kim Lacourt below, with the Absa Cape Epic being recognized as one of the elite international mountain bike races. The Cape Epic first staged in 2004 when Namibian men's rider Manny Heymans partnered with Karl Platt of Germany as the first men's winners. Now Vera Lusa adds a name to the winners list, and a proud winner indeed.
Oh man, we just won the Cape Epic. I think it starts to sink in. I think we had a good day out there. We kept it so consistent and safe. But yeah, to even come second today with quite a gap on third still, I mean, legs were just rolling. It was amazing.
You won a 2023 Absa Cape Epic. Has it sunk in?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not me, it's me and Kim. It's a teamwork and all our support stuff out there. We couldn't have done it without them.
Namibia is proud of you. Message for Namibia maybe?
I love Namibia. I'm a proud Namibian and I'm looking forward to coming home next week.
The voice of 2023 Women's Cape Epic winner Vera Lusa and participating with Kim Lacourt below of Mauritius. Vera's husband Kenny Lusa also took part in the men's elite race.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable day for Vera and Kim for sure. I mean, they knew maybe, you know, it's possible to win, but in the end to pull it off, I mean, it's great. I mean, they stayed calm even if they had a little bit of a gap. And yeah, I mean, mechanical, you know, it's part of the game, it can happen, but now this time it was not on them. So I'm super excited and run out of words. I mean, it's the biggest mountain bike race, stage race in the world, and it's like a dream coming true for her, and I think she deserved it. She worked so hard for it, and it's perfect.
What it means for Namibia as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's also a big day for Namibia and cycling. I mean, I think Vera is a role model, so in each way. So I hope she can, or she can bring more people to do the mountain bike and like believe. It's a small country. it's not easy to get all the way up to the top, but Vera proved it's possible, and it's a great day for all of us.
Connie Loose celebrating a special day with Vera with a photo to keep for life. In the men's elite division, it was Matt Beers of South Africa and Chris Blevins of the USA, winners of the 2023 men's elite division. The 2023 ABSA Cape Epic concluded, and a very proud moment indeed for Namibia. Elite women's winners Vera Loose and partner Kim Lecourt below, and nothing more special than that winning moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing Mauritius, representing Namibia, your winners are the...
Let's find out why Andalex is SA's #1 brand for sore throat and mouth.
When I have a painful sore throat, I use Andalex Sea Spray. I use it regularly for painful conditions of the mouth and throat caused by viral and bacterial infections.
I use Andalex C antibacterial mouthwash every second day. It protects my mouth against infections caused by viruses and bacteria, as well as gum disease.
For a sore mouth and throat, just Andalex it.
Everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with soccer news. European Championship qualification games that continue, and it is for Germany 2024. That tournament will be played from the 14th of June till the 14th of July next year. The results from that qualifying: Netherlands beat Gibraltar quite convincingly at home by 3-0. Then Poland beat Albania 1-0, and it is Austria too strong for Estonia. The score in that game, 2-1. Continuing with tennis news, it's the Miami Open that also continues. The best players in the world, men's and women's, on the WTA and the ATP playing in Miami, and it's week 2 in that tournament. Through to the quarterfinals in the women's side, number 2 and 3 seeds. Number 2 seed Arena Sabalenko of Belarus, she beat Barbora Krejcikova by 6-3 and 6-2. Then also number 3 seed from America, Jessica Pegula, too strong for Magda Linette of Poland, and that score in 2 sets also 6-1 and 7-5. On the men's side of the draw, there's been one of the top seeds, higher seed players that's been knocked out, and that is Francis Tiafoe of the USA. He's number 12 seed. He's knocked out, lost to Lorenzo Sonego of Italy, 6-3 and 6-4 the score there. Number 2 seed, Stefanos Tsitsipas, safely through. That is also to the round of 16, and he beat Christian Garin of Chile, and the score there was 6-3, 4-6 and 6-3. And continuing with MotoGP Motorcycle Grand Prix news, the first one is done, the Portuguese Grand Prix. That was won by Francesco Bagnaia in his Ducati. That was the first one. The second one is the Argentinian Grand Prix. This coming weekend, it will be on Sunday. Big news from the MotoGP is that 2 very high profile of the riders will be out of it because of an accident and because of injuries. It is firstly Miguel Oliveira. He drives, he's on a Aprilia, and also Marc Marquez. He is also out. Marc Marquez, he had a hand injury and he had surgery on his hand, so he's out for quite a significant time, and Oliveira might be back for the one after Argentina. Southern African interest, it is Brad Binder on his KTM that's did well in the first one in Portugal. He was 6th, and so he will again challenge in Argentina. Continuing international sports news with rugby news, it's rugby news from the United Rugby Championship. That will continue in 2 weeks' time, and it is news from the Leinster team. Leinster at the moment leading the competition quite comfortably and will also finish number 1, although there's still 2 games left, and in the quarterfinals they will have a home quarterfinal. But big news is that one of their big stars, that is fly half Johnny Sexton, he's out with an injury. In fact, he will miss all the games left in United Rugby Championship. He injured his groin, and that was in the last Six Nations game against England. It is Leinster and Munster, both of them the Irish teams that will travel to South Africa in 2 weeks' time, and they will play the last 2 games in the round robin then in South Africa. And closing off today's international sports news with cricket news, South African Proteas play a very important 50-over series, 2 one-day games that they play against the Netherlands. That starts on Friday. They need to win both of those games. They will need to win the series 2-0 for them to qualify for the World Cup that's going to be played in India. That is later this year in October and November. News from the South African camp is that fast bowlers Kagiso Rabada and Andrich Nortje both been drafted back into the team for the important games against the Netherlands. Netherlands. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk again tomorrow. Goodbye.
This brings us to the end of today's show. Catch the Sportwrap again tomorrow at the same time and place. Goodbye.